It's time once again for Here's What's Happening in Carrington, New Rockford, and surrounding areas on KDAK. Today's segment is brought to you by
Blue Swan Designs of Carrington, your local source for Kirsch products. Also vertical blinds, cellular Roman full wood shades, custom draperies, curtain shears, balances, and more. Give Rose a call at 701-652-3978. That's Blue Swan Designs of Carrington. Joining us this morning for another edition of Here's What's Happening is Dion Schaff, District Manager for the Foster County Soil Conservation District. Good morning, Dion.
Good morning, Greg.
And how are you on this fine Wednesday morning?
Oh, I'm just fine today.
And you? Yeah, I'm doing good too. We got the big 4th of July coming today. So, coming not today, but this
coming
weekend.
Quick, yeah.
It's here already. So, what do you got? Some big plans this weekend, right? For the 4th?
I'm hoping to see the Mandan Rodeo with my folks again this year. So,
okay, all right.
But the district has a plan for the 4th of July.
Yep.
We're hopefully going to have a driver, right? And we're gonna put a piece of equipment in the parade here in Carrington is what we're gonna try to do here.
Oh, nice! That'll be this Saturday at 5 o'clock, right? Down Main. Yep.
Kurt.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Kurt Klein also joining us. Thanks, Kurt, for joining us. Chairman of the Foster County Soil Conservation District. Good morning, Kurt.
Good morning. How's it going?
I'm doing excellent. And yeah, you're gonna have. Are you gonna be the driver this weekend?
No, that's the problem. I have my own float for the highway driving,
Yeah.
So we're looking for a driver for the district. Everybody seems to be busy, so.
Okay.
But we have a few days to work on it. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Tomorrow, Friday. So yeah, you'll find somebody. Yeah. So. All right, sounds good. Well, thanks, guys, for joining us here on KDAK. Dion, we're going to start things off with you. We got to talk some tree planting this morning, right?
Yes. There will be the usual programs available through NRCS, the EQIP and CSP. You can do tree planting through them. But there are also 2 other programs that are available to assist with tree planting, and both of them are grants from the North Dakota Outdoor Heritage Fund. The first one is the same then that was available last year. The Soil Conservation Districts put together a grant for a tree planting assistance program. But the other one is something new that the Forest Service is administering, and that is a statewide windbreak renovation initiative. Now, the Soil Conservation District one, as I said, it's the same one as last year's tree planting assistance. It would be tree plans that address a resource concern of soil erosion, water quality, farmstead protection, or wildlife diversity. And there would be an emphasis on native species where possible. The cost share is available for planting, fabric application, and tree shelter tubes where appropriate, and that cost share is 60% of the total cost with a maximum per person of $25,000. So it will help toward a pretty good-sized planting. The applications for this are going to be due August 5th. And that would need to include a planting plan that would follow NRCS specifications, so that people that want to apply for this need to come in and start talking to me here in July.
Okay. Sounds good.
The other program, the Forest Service one, like I said, that does renovations, which we have not been able to do through the other program. This is where North Dakota Forest Service or a qualified partner will do a windbreak condition assessment and then provide a plan for renovating that windbreak to restore it to proper function. This renovation might mean removal and replanting of trees, but it could also involve practices like thinning, pruning, and coppicing. That means, cutting it back and letting it grow back from the bottom. This works for things like shrubs. So the initiative provides cost shares to implement the plan that they come up with based on these assessment of the windbreak. So what landowners will need to do, they would need to complete a windbreak renovation questionnaire on the North Dakota Forest Service website, and if they have any trouble figuring it out, finding it, whatever, they can come into our office. We'll pull it up on our computers and give them a hand with it. So that's not going to be a problem. Now, the North Dakota Forest Service will look at that questionnaire, and based on that, they'll decide if the project is eligible for assistance, and if it is, someone will come out, take a look at it, do the assessment, write the renovation plan. When the planned renovation is completed and inspected, then the landowner is reimbursed for 50% of the actual cost. But two things: any practices provided by the landowner, they have a set rate for them. These can be considered in-kind match toward their half of the cost. And also, because there's a 10-year maintenance agreement involved in this, the Forest Service can provide a forest restoration credit based on a local rental rate. And that also can be used as in-kind toward their 50% of the cost. Now, the maximum reimbursement for the cost share on this program is $10,000. So that would be the maximum they put toward the total cost. And the deadline for that one, it's in November, and I don't have the exact date. I will bring that up again next month because I don't seem to have brought it with me, but it is in November, so there's more time. There's more time to get to that one. But for the other program, the strictly tree planting program, that is due in early August, so we need to get started on those.
Okay. And did you want to talk about some tree care this morning too, Dion?
Yeah. Just a few things. This year we seem to be having a lot of rain, so it's not as big as an issue, but keep in mind if you've got new trees out there, they are more sensitive to dry conditions than your older trees. You do need to keep them watered. They're really still trying to establish the root system, so they just don't have the resources to gather water that an older tree has. NRCS recommends for new plantings, if they want them to get about 5 gallons a week during the first season and 10 gallons every other week for the next 2 years. So if you've gone a week, 10 days without any rain, you probably need to get out there and water them. The other thing to keep in mind is weeds. If you're doing tillage, remember that you need to do it regularly, and you don't want to go any more than 1 to 3 inches deep and no more than 2 feet. You need to stay at least 2 feet away from your seedlings or you're going to damage their roots again. Within 2 feet of the trees, you either have to use hand tools or just pull them. If you're using weed barrier, it's probably also good to keep in mind that does require some maintenance every few years, at least every 5 years. So you need to get out there, check the holes, make sure they're not binding on the trees. You can put a box cutter on the end of the stick if that helps to reach down and widen those holes, make sure that they're not binding the trees. And if you're mowing around them, you're getting all that debris on top of the fabric that provides a substrate for the weeds to start. You want to keep that fabric clean so that the weeds can't start on top of it.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, Dion. Kurt, what'd you have for us this morning?
Probably nothing, but no. Oh, I don't know. We're just getting ready for the 4th. It's a pretty exciting time. And just maybe one thing I'm just going to try on my farm. I don't know if you drive around the countryside, you see a lot of these alkali spots where absolutely nothing is growing.
Yep.
And I'm going to kind of get a mixture from the local Pioneer dealer with barley, maybe some Sudan grass, and sugar beets. Okay. And just try seeding into some of them spots. They say sugar beets does really, really good in those alkali spots. So you need to get something growing in them spots, or even this fall. I did it last fall. Go out with some or maybe some rye would work better in them spots, because then the rye would start again right away in the spring. So these spots, you drive around the countryside, they seem to be getting bigger and bigger all the time.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that.
And we put soybeans, Roundup Ready soybeans, Roundup Ready corn. And then we go and spray, and then nothing's growing on them spots because there's no corn or soybeans growing either. So, and that's the worst case scenario there. And then the spots just continue to expand too. So that's just an idea. I'm going to be probably trying next week, seeding some of that stuff down, see what happens. So
okay, all right, sounds good. Kurt, thanks so much. Dion, let's see, we got the boxes still at Runnings, right?
Yes. If you go out to Runnings, right in front of the doors there, take a look at the Rip View boxes. They're starting to grow. When I put them out there, we just seeded them, but they're starting to grow up. In fact, I think I might need to get out there one of these days and thin them a little. They're getting a little overgrown. But I think if you look carefully, you can start seeing the roots show.
All right, sounds good. Well, thanks so much, you guys,
Okay.
for joining us this morning. And Dion, did you have something
Oh,
else?
just
Yep.
one last reminder. You actually reminded me. We are going to be closed on Friday. It is a federal holiday because of the 4th being Saturday, so the office will be closed this Friday.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks so much, you guys. We're talking this morning with Dion Schaff, District Manager for the Foster County Soil Conservation District, and Kurt Klein, Chairman for the Foster County Soil Conservation District. That concludes another edition of Here's What's Happening on KDAK. It's 8:52. We'll take a quick break here. We got more coming up, including weather shortly.
And now, steering you toward great fun and food in our listening area. It's time for our dining and entertainment guide.
The best day.